All right, let's take a look at the solution for this assignment here. And we'll be addressing about 6 different elements to get extracted from the dataset that we have. And very first item is to extract the customer's first name only and the last name only into 2 different fields. So since the dataset is not very complex, you can pass through the data, and some places we have only first name and some places we don't have the first name, but looks like there is not a lot of places where there is middle name involved, right? So there is one place where there is a middle name involved. You should have a fair understanding of how complex the data set is going to be. If not, you're going to get wrong results or unexpected outcomes. So I'm going to first type the customer name, Shanta, and then this is Swami, right? And then this is Anjali, and this is Dora. All right. So it looks like that since there is not a lot of complexity, I'm going to apply flash fill here. So Control E, I'm going to get the right output as I expected. There is not a place where I have got the middle name or the last name or an unexpected outcome as well. Now I'm going to go and apply it for the last name as well. And once again, I'm going to ensure this I get the right output, right? So let's ensure this is the right way here. It's going to pass through to a certain degree of data. All right, so here in some cases where the first name and the last name is not present in the original data, you get the same information as output. So FlashFill understands this as in last name and first name altogether. Since there is only one input or one data that is available, it's going to get the same as output. Though we didn't want this to happen, but the data structure that we have is kind of complexing this, right? So this is something we should understand. In those cases, you can simply go ahead and remove that manually. There is not an easier way for us to do it. And in those cases where there was a middle name involved, you could see the middle name was ignored in our output. So that's now working in our expectations. So that's all good here. We'll move to the next item. So customer email. We want to create an customer email from here, right? So we have to use the first name and the last letter of the last name, and then add outlook.com as the customer email address. So I'm going to go back to my question here, and here I'm going to type shanta.s@outlook.com. And once again, I'm going to go for a few more examples because I'm sure this would have unintended consequences. And I could see that FlashFill is giving us some degree of output or the potential outputs that we might get. So let's ensure if this is working in our intention. And if so, even before I complete it, I could simply press enter, and FlashFill will apply it for every other row as well. And you could see FlashFill is in progress here. So let's wait for that to get completed. And since there are so many rows here, it's going to take a bit of a time to get the FlashFill applied. And let's go back to the situation where we had only Sam in our data set, right? And you notice since the name has only one, the first name, it's kind of understanding or picking the same name for our last name as well. And since we used only dot and then the first letter of it, it's putting as sam.s at outlook.com as our output. Once again, an unintended consequence, but just be aware this is not your fault, or you cannot control this behavior with the fewer examples that we give. What we can do is, like, the best option in order to overcome this is to go back into our data set and bring Sam at the top, right? So I'm going to simply type Sam here, and also bring that complex example of the middle name as well, and paste that at the top, right? So I'm going to paste that at the top. Now I could simply go ahead and remove all of this flash fill that I already applied, and now type the expected outcome. So Swami, and this is Anjali and Dora, and only Sam. Not going to apply anything here, just empty here. This is Julian, and then just enter, and this is Samson, right? So now let me apply flash fill, right? This time I'm going to get the right output. And once again, you see the behavior, right? Flash will still want you to go and fill that empty space. It doesn't want to give empty space. So this is where flash fill fails, right? So we already seen that in another video earlier, but just understand, no matter how many examples you give, in those cases, flash fill would fail you, right? So just be aware of that. So now, once again, I'm gonna use the email address situation, and gonna type s@outlook.com and Anjali.a or sorry, Anjali.d@outlook.com, sam@outlook.com, and julian.s@outlook.com, right? So now these are four different situations or three different complex situations of the data set, and we got that covered, right? Now when we apply flash fill, you would see this issue where the last name getting filled automatically go away, and we would get the right output as we expected. So let's wait for flash fill to get this completed. All right, we got that completed, and let's look at the situation. You see here, right? Since for Sam, we gave an example of, if you have only one name, just use that one name and then include @outlook.com. It kind of did that really well for every other situation as well, right? So that's how you can overcome to a certain degree of that issue. However, you'll still not be able to overcome for the last name, right? All right, let's get to the second part of solving this assignment. It's gonna get complex for us. So once again, I'm gonna understand the data here. So this is 01/01/2023. I want only the date information in this column and the hour and the minute information and AM or PM here. So since I know this, I want to understand the data a little better. And when I scroll down after probably 200 rows, I see that the date information is in middle, the month information is at the beginning, and the year information is at the end. So this means I have to ensure I give enough examples. So just for giving examples, I'm going to copy one of this data set, which is a little complex, and then bring it up top. I'm going to paste it there. Now let me give now let me give the examples, right? 1/1/2023, 1/2/2023. Now let me apply flash fill. Okay, so now this is giving error, right? This is because we have given only two examples, and Excel is trying to understand we are giving a sequential output. This is not the actual intention, right? So let me press Ctrl Z and give another example, 1/1/2023, then apply flash fill again. This time I would get the right output. And if I scroll all the way down to the 200th row or the 300th row, you would see the date information extracted the right way we wanted. So just understand, flash fill works blindly, not validating the logic of the data. And this is our job to give that logic the right way with our examples. Now, let's go to the contact hour and minute. And this is much more complex than we know. So let's simply understand this is 3:38 PM and we want only that 3:38, right? So let me give 03.38 and press enter and see what happens. It converts to 9:07 AM, right? This is because whenever I use dot in my numerical values, and if it is less than 24 or 12, depending on my format or the settings, Excel would automatically convert that to be a time or a date as a format. Now, if the cell format is that, right? But this is not how I wanted the output. So let's reverse this. Let me give 03:38 and press enter. This time I got 3:38 as output, but when I click on it, you would see in the formula bar, the value is as AM. It is still converting into a time, but this is not I wanted as output, right? I don't want Excel to understand whether it is AM or PM. I simply want that 3:38 as my output so that I could do some analysis or something else. So I'm gonna once again go back to my delete that, go back to the ground zero. This time I'm gonna give example, especially for converting time information. I'm gonna use a single quote and then 03:38. And this time you would see this is storing as a text information and not as a time information or a numerical information. So this is exactly what I wanted, and that is the problem here because this is getting stored as a text. I'll not be able to do calculation, and I think we'll be able to still calculate it at the later stage once we extract the information from a complex cell, right? So I'm going to simply use single quotes and repeat this step for every other cell as well. So 11:41, single quotes 08:35, single quote 0701, single quote 0239. And now I have given enough examples. Let me apply flash fill. And you now notice almost all the time that we wanted is now getting extracted the right way, right? So there's no issues in this place. Now let's move on to the last part of this, which is we wanted only AM or PM to be extracted. So once again, I'm going to simply type, okay, the cell has PM, I'm going to type PM, and this is AM, and I'm going to type AM, and this is PM, 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 AM, right? So now we've given enough examples, and I'm going to go and apply flash fill now. And this time I would get the right output for every other cells and every other row. So this is how effectively you should use flash fill. One new learning from this is that whenever you're converting a time information, just use that single quotes and convert that as a text. That's the best way for you to convert or extract information before you start analyzing. So that's mostly about this assignment. I'll see you in the next section where we'll learn about a completely different feature with some amazing knowledge.